Hey there everybody, Cinema Recap here, and today I'm going to talk about Con Air. Spoilers ahead. Another Nicolas Cage classic. An intro with little relevance to the movie, and then we immediately start off with a strange salute of a military body called the Rangers. That's where we meet our guy, Cameron Poe, a decorated US soldier who just wants to get home to his wife Trisha. And he spies on her working at the bar, with a sultry Trisha Yearwood song playing in the background as they lock eyes. They kiss and hug and do all the things that happy married couples do. Aw. And then he asks her about the baby.
That makes your daddy very proud.
She's pregnant? Wait, he must be really early. Hold up. How long's he been gone? And he proceeds to talk to her belly. They have this nice romantic dancing moment that's cut short by some Alabama boy who's a regular, meaning he can harass any woman he wants at the bar because, you know, he pays for beers. Well, big boy Billy shows how manly he is and tries to establish dominance by throwing money at Cameron and telling him to buy his friends beers. What? What's the point of bullying somebody if you're giving him money? That's not how that works. Whatever. Cameron, being the well-restrained military man that he is, doesn't appreciate this guy's disrespectful attitude towards him or his wife, but decides to be the bigger guy and ignore him. You know, for a second there, you were that guy again. Apparently he has a dark side. Foreshadowing. So now cut to the two lovebirds leaving the bar in the pouring rain. It's always raining for the added dramatic effect. And the Three Stooges from earlier, led by he thinks he's a badass Billy, approaches the couple, clearly taunting our guy Cameron. Trisha knows what's coming next, and warns them that they should leave before there's trouble.
Cameron, get in the car!
But his pride is, at stake here. Cameron's surrounded. The bad guys have liquored up stupidity, a bottle, and their fists on their side, while Cameron, at least, has some military training. Oh, not the uniform. At first, Cam's on the ropes, letting him kick him while he's down. Then his military background finally kicks in, and he starts thrashing these guys. He gets two down with some sick moves, and then the third guy, Billy I think, pulls that knife. Cameron strikes him in the nose, and somehow Billy's dead. I guess I've heard of people hitting someone in the nose just that right way that kills them. Not sure. But apparently that's what happened.
God, he's dead.
So now Cameron's screwed. His lawyer tells him that he has to plead guilty with the assumption that he'll only have to do 4 years. Not sure if this guy actually passed the bar because that's not what ended up happening. The judge seems to think that because of Cam's military training, he's considered a deadly weapon. And will see no less than 7 to 10 years, instead of that 4 promised by the lawyer. Oops, probably should have sought better counsel. Well, Cameron's first walk through prison was like most awkward fresh meat prison scenes. Catcalling, shouting, and swearing from the other inmates as he calmly walks to his cell. He seems to handle prison life pretty well, especially with Trish, sending him snowball pastries, Doritos, and monster truck magazines. The guards don't seem to have things under control though. Why are things on fire? Even his daughter, kids sure grow up fast. Little Casey started writing him letters and sending him gifts. He really likes to tell people about his daughter. And wait, why is he talking like that? I'm not sure what's funnier, how many scenes there are of Nick Cage working out in his cell or his attempt at a country accent.
Unas margaritas and el yate, por favor.
So our boy Cam continues to count his days and look forward to getting out and seeing his beautiful wife and daughter for the first time since she was born. His good friend and fellow inmate Baby-O celebrates Cameron's parole paperwork. Is that Bubba from Forrest Gump? He has a stuffed bunny that he's picked out to give Casey when he sees her. Because the day he's getting out is also her birthday. Isn't that convenient? Now cut to a scene with a big-ass jet named the Jailbird. It's some giant plane that they use to transport inmates across the country for various things.
Today's flight is a special one.
For some, Cameron and Baby-O are two of the individuals that'll be flying that day. This particular flight is special though. They're taking some truly nasty criminals to the newest Supermax facility, Feltham Prison. Now they give you a rundown of the biggest and baddest of the convicts going on the Jailbird. These guys are so cool, having all nicknames like Diamond Dog, Billy Bedlam, and Cyrus the Virus. Crimes ranging from horrible to even more horrible. They are truly the kind of guys that don't care about anything, except maybe themselves. Now the DEA has a genius plan to send an agent named Sims undercover on that plane to sit next to another convict in the hopes that they can squeeze a confession out of him. That's when they bring in my boy Cusack, or Agent Vince Larkin, to be all smarty pants and tell everyone what to do. Now, an angry, impatient, and handicapped space-stealing Agent Malloy doesn't seem to enjoy any of Cusack's quippy puns, or his personality in general.
You got your gun? Yeah.
Well, I suppose he does deserve it for, being rude first. Larkin tells him that Sims can't have a gun on board the plane, and that the only one is in a lockbox in the cockpit. Well, that makes sense.
We are ready to disembark.
Bunch of unarmed guards on board a plane full of dozens of criminals? Sounds about right. Well, joke's on Larkin, because Malloy decided to slip a pistol into his undercover guy Sims' sock. Well, so much for being unarmed. Wonder what's going to go wrong here. It's got to be hot on that plane because everyone seems to be sweating profusely. Maybe it's all the terrible jokes made by the male guards. Sally, the one female, seems to be the only guard with a decent amount of intelligence and dignity. Shockingly, our sneaky criminals are up to something and have needles used to pick their locks stuffed under their skin like Harry frickin' Houdini, with the help of Dave Chappelle's less than reputable character Pinball, setting someone on fire. That's one way to get out of your seat. Cyrus and his buddies manage to escape their cells and take over the plane.
Say it, or I will kill you.
Now the convicts have a dilemma. The first one is fooling the cops at the drop in exchange of convicts in Carson City. Their second dilemma is our guy, Cameron Poe. He's already trying to figure out how he can hero himself, the female guard, and Baby-O off the plane. It's a tall order, but not for a ranger, gosh darn it. The Carson City exchange works out, and they bring a whole new group of convicts into the fold, including one guy with more security than Lecter himself, a full-blown mask and leather straitjacket, the whole I'm a psycho getup. Now the cops at the exchange managed to figure out just at the very last second that the guards were actually convicts. Lucky they had a sandstorm in Carson City, otherwise the gags and masks on everyone would have looked pretty suspicious. Now the cons may be the bad guys, but they're not stupid. The one last thing that Pinball did before getting himself squished was put the tracker from the jailbird on some private plane as to lead the authorities somewhere else. How clever.
Don't worry, baby. It's all right. I'm a cop.
So Cameron and Baby-O discuss the ridiculous situation with mass child murderer Garland Green, Steve Buscemi, who personally was scarier looking in Mr. Deeds than he was in this movie, sitting to their left. Baby-O's having a tougher time than anybody. Apparently he's a diabetic, and during the initial skirmish, they broke all the syringes he needed, but not the delicate bottles of insulin. Seems unlikely.
Pick up the gear.
Now the landing gear's not working, so Cyrus tells Poe to go investigate the issue with Diamond Dog. They find Pinball stuck and dead. That's what I meant by squished. I don't know where the budget went with this movie, but Chappelle's dummy was a crime against mannequins. Diamond made Poe shove Pinball out of the landing gear.
Bye, Pinball!
Sending him falling to earth and landing on top of an unsuspecting couple's car while they sat in traffic. Talk about making a landing. Poe wrote a short note to Larkin on Pinball's white tee, telling them their landing destination. Now Larkin drives to meet the cons at the airfield, the most decrepit, run-down landing strip that's ever existed. There are abandoned parts of planes everywhere, and a tiny gas station that they nearly destroyed in their landing. Poe wants to be a hero still and get Baby-O and Sally the guard off the plane.
I'm getting him off of this plane.
He knows that patience and damn good acting are his only hope. Somehow these convicts land in the middle of a desert at a tiny airfield, yet there's a trailer park within walking distance. Sure, all the inmates are free to walk around at this point, so of course they free Big Bad Wolf Garland Green from his Hannibal Lecter restraints. And he's managed to find the only inhabitant area in the whole desert, where a dirty little girl is having a tea party with her naked dolls in an empty, run-down in-ground pool.
There is no medicine for what I have.
What in the world? Has anybody been to a place like this? It's crazy. Larkin and Poe manage to run into each other and have an awkward conversation on the end of two guns. Well, Larkin's seeing the opportunity to use Cameron for help in this screwed up situation, and he tells him that he knows Poe's a victim of wrong place, wrong time. Well, isn't that the truth? And now that I think of it, no, he does have terrible luck.
You're a free man, Poe.
Now, Poe wants Larkin to tell Trisha and Casey that he loves them, assuming that he won't survive this ordeal with the other convicts. He's willing to sacrifice his life to save the day, as he puts it. Gosh, what a hero. Well, someone's got to do it, I guess. I don't see Larkin or anybody else trying. Thankfully, when they landed the giant plane, they did a terrible job and got stuck in the sand, giving the troops enough time to try and make it to the airfield. Perfect movie tactics. And they showed them trying to pull the plane out of sand with ropes by hand, which even with 20 inmates isn't going to happen, but you know, we'll leave that one to Hollywood.
Where's Sandino?
Meanwhile, Cyrus's buddy Sandino was supposed to have a plane there to pick them all up. But in true convict fashion, he double-crosses his friend, which in turn gets himself blown up. The gas explosion also opened up a really awesome running scene with Nick Cage. Wind with the flames blowing in his hair, making a valiant dive through a window to save himself. Man, 90s Cage was the best. And just like they have been throughout the whole movie, the convicts remain one step ahead of the police, setting up traps for them. Cyrus and his gang set up a series of propane tanks and other explosive measures in order to surprise and kill him. And during all these epic explosions, we get to see Poe look for an insulin syringe while driving a beat-up car through a barrage of bullets to save his friend Baby-O and help the cops. Some super sweet guitar riffs playing in the background, with loud action sequences bleeding police and inmates alike. Choppers are landing with more reinforcements, and the convicts attempt to desperately leave in the jailbird. Somehow, amidst all the chaos, gunfire, and humongous explosions, Agent Malloy's Porsche was snagged by a rope that was hanging off the back of the plane. It flew for a moment like chitty chitty bang bang, before it crashed into a watchtower. Now they begin drinking and celebrating as they have technically managed to escape again. One of them even found a dress to parade around in. Garland's talking about the irony of them dancing in a plane to Sweet Home Alabama, a song written by a band who died in a plane crash. Yep, I'd have to say that's pretty ironic. Hey, wait a second. Garland actually came back, and he didn't end up killing that little girl in the trailer park, but he did take her doll. If I had to choose, theft is better than murder. Now Malloy wants to shoot down the plane, but Larkin begs him to hold off firing on the convicts. He sort of listens and only shoots the plane a little bit before stopping. I think he's just mad about the car. Now the cons are onto Poe at this point. Cyrus figured out he was the one who told the cops about the Lerner airfield land. There's not a whole lot of options for it to be anyway at this point. Everyone's dead. In an effort to get Cameron to admit that he was the rat, he threatened to shoot Sally the guard, prompting Baby-O to stand up first. Well, Cyrus shoots him, making Poe really sad. After all that running around Poe did to find that syringe. Cam goes to charge at the bad guys, tanking a bullet in the arm like a total badass. And Cyrus tells Poe that he'll find Casey and kill her, taunting our valiant hero with a terrible accent. And now more chaos and fighting breaks out among them, and Poe slaps that dress-wearing inmate in order to get into the cockpit.
Come on, you Captain, put this thing down.
Sally the guard wallops Cyrus over the head, knocking him out. Way to go, Sally, finally getting a piece of the action. The con pilot tells Poe that they don't have enough fuel or engine power to make it to the airstrip in Las Vegas. Basically, they're gonna have to land on the wrong kind of Las Vegas strip that could be a mess. Turns out that's exactly what it is, a giant, noisy, fiery, explosive mess of a plane plowing down the Vegas Strip. Plane parts, bleeding people, and poker chips seem to be flying everywhere, as they destroyed multiple buildings. And it doesn't stop there. After the cops arrested the few stragglers, Cyrus, Diamond, and their pilot managed to hop onto a fire truck. Come on, guys, you can't leave those things unattended with a literal plane of murderers that just landed. Now Larkin and Poe take off after him, leading to another knockdown, drag-em-out Hollywood movie scene with the fire truck careening down the road. A bizarre series of events and fights occur, eventually leading to the bad guys dead in some sort of gruesome way. And our hero, alive and well. I mean, well, he's kinda well. As well as a guy could be who took out a plane of inmates basically by himself as a final hoorah to his prison days. Way to go, Cameron. Just like at the beginning of the movie, Cameron spots his beautiful wife. This time, it's across a flaming Vegas Strip covered in injured bodies, debris, and money? Why is money raining from the sky? Yeah, I know it's Vegas, but it's not like they have stacks of money just ready for a strong breeze or a plane to come through it. Oh, and the same Trisha Yearwood song is playing again. It must be the song they danced to at their wedding or something. There's definitely a theme there. And his wife, also Trisha, noticed the theme, seems to be unsure of what to say to this long-haired, bloodied, and surely stinky husband of hers. Cameron tries to give Casey the stuffed bunny, who has honestly seen more action than most adults at this point, rendering an awkward moment for all of them when she hides from him. Yeah, no, Daddy scares me too, Casey, with his beaten-up bunny. Well, she takes it, and when she realizes that he is indeed the guy from the photos and not some startling bloody stranger with a gunshot wound and long hair, the family unites in a much-deserved hug. And he's been through a lot to get there, so I guess it's the least that he deserves. And just when you think it's over, you realize what happened to Garland. Or maybe you didn't. Either way, he made it out alive and without notice too. Casually gambling, because that never stops when you're in Vegas. Even when a giant Boeing airplane crashes into the Strip. There's no telling what Garland will get up to now that he's a free man, but I'll have to say that it's anything but good. One of my favorites, Con Air, was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer Films in 1997, starring Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, John Malkovich, Ving Rhames, and a lot of others, in an action-packed blockbuster film. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and hit subscribe for more awesome content coming your way.